Welcome to the Mental Edge. As men, we pledge to live on the edge, to discuss all things we love about being men with an infectious transparency that's laced with just the right amount of man humor.
If you're on a journey to self-development and improvement, if you're a seeker of truth or want to find fulfillment and purpose while crafting a brave and successful version of what God has for you, then the Mental Edge is for you. Once I get it, I'm gonna try my hardest not to touch it.
I think everything.
Hey, what do you say I got?
Everybody's. What do I have? Obsessive mic disorder. Here we go. Fernando can't stop touching his microphone. Please just leave it alone.
I got obsessive
compulsive mic disorder.
Yeah.
And the people who listen in Istanbul are like, every week I say these. Every week.
He's our one listener. Did he ever respond back to us? So he's listening, but he doesn't want to respond.
We have at least one listener in Istanbul, Turkey. And just thank you. We love you too.
Wow.
Yeah. But
this is awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Let's check it. Okay, that camera is not working. It must not be on. Just turn, there we go, shut it. Just turn it, you gotta close it, open it back up, and then hit that record, because they would be fitting, because right now I'm editing a video with Sam, and it's just pictures of Junior when he talks, because Jay Wizzle looked at all these things, didn't have my glasses on, got up and turned, thought Junior's camera was off, and I was turning it on, but I did the opposite.
Huh?
Yeah.
So Wizard. You see recording everyone now?
Yep.
We got a fourth camera.
I'm excited. That's cool. That's like a whole different look for us.
Is this the first time with the 4 cameras?
Yes.
I'm the first guy with 4 cameras?
You are the first one.
Nice.
And there's a couple things going on here. First guy with 4 cameras. What's another first for Bill?
First for Bill. We asked Bill what he wanted to talk about.
Yep.
Okay, which I think is cool because...
Yep. And then it's close. He's going to be one of the last guys that we record in this room.
Yeah.
Right towards the end.
We're getting close to the end, and we're going to move the studio to an undisclosed location, even to ourselves.
Yeah. It's unknown.
Yeah, we don't know yet, because this house will be for sale really soon.
It'll probably go quick.
Yeah.
It's a hot market.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And we don't even know where you're going to go yet.
We don't know, but we have faith.
Yeah.
With faith, what else do you need, right?
Amen, man. That's awesome.
It's a nice neighborhood.
Yeah, thank you. I love it. I have great neighbors. It's actually the only thing making it kind of hard to sell this is my neighbors, and they've already said that there will be applications.
Before you guys go.
Yeah, before there's like a whole no.
Yep.
Yeah, yay or nay, thumbs up or thumbs down, which is good just because they're incredible people. When we first moved here, there were 11 houses and 17 kids in this cul-de-sac.
Wow.
You couldn't back your car down the driveway without... You had to back in because you're like, I'm not running nobody's kid over.
Gotcha.
It was
that
awesome.
Sounds good, yeah. And Bill, you said that you were working right in this area earlier. Was it close?
Yeah, just a couple blocks away. Had a bunch of gas leaks in their house.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
A bunch?
Yeah, like probably 6 or 7.
You guys figure this out. I'm going to smoke this cigarette.
Yeah. Bill's a HVAC guy, trade.
HVAC.
Yeah. How many years, Bill?
Yeah.
It's my 19th year.
19th year. Keeping America warm and cool.
Yeah.
Warm and cool.
Never be without a job.
Yeah.
No, you won't be.
He works for another amazing guy, Russ Chereau.
Oh, yeah.
Rusco
Good
Heating
man.
and Cooling. Yeah.
Good man.
Wait a second. You had them come out here, didn't you?
Russ has been here before, I think, to do some evaluation for us. Also, he is related to Ron Fuller.
Okay.
But through marriage, and Ron Fuller is a great man.
Okay.
Too, also that I consider like up there with Russ, like amazing, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
That's cool, and Russ is lucky to have you.
Yeah, we've. It's kind of crazy. He hired me right out of high school, which was 19 years ago. Supposed to just be a summer job. You know?
Right. Gotcha.
And sucker. Turn into a career. So
that works out.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
can't
cool.
complain. Yeah, it's career's kind of taken off, and our business has just thrived. So it's been pretty wild.
I love that about him.
That is wild. Craziest thing you ever found in a furnace?
Oh, a cat, dude.
Can we do that again?
Cat, dude.
Well, I didn't see that coming.
A cat, dude. Dude, I got this picture, bro.
Smells like barbecue.
It's unbelievable. I'll put it up. Link it in the show notes. It'll just freak you out.
Yeah.
And it was. I got a call. Now these people didn't have any air conditioning; just had heat. I got a call, said there was no heat, and I get down there and the motor's not turning, the wheel, and I put my hand in there to try to see if I can move the fan wheel, and it's not budging. So I unscrew it to try to slide it out, and it's not coming out. So I flash a light down there, and I see all this fur. I have no idea what it is. So anyway, I finally get it out, and here's a full-blown, like, massive tiger cat in this blower motor. And the homeowners were shocked. I said, "Oh, he's been missing for 3 months." So
I was going to ask the listeners want to know, but based on 3 months being gone, I'm not going to even tell the listeners
what happens.
Yes, that Fifi was no longer alive.
Mr. Mittens was gone. He went through all 9 lives.
Man.
But I got a cool story. So one time, I get a text message from him, and it's like high school pictures of me.
Oh yeah,
it was like my senior photo, and he's like, "Hey, came to this house. They're obsessed with you."
We love Fernando.
I'm like,
I remember that one.
Shrine.
That's what he said. He goes, they got a shrine and everything built. And I'm like,
hilarious.
Oh my goodness, where is this?
I told you, bro.
Dude, that looks like a.
Hold on, I gotta see.
He saved the picture of the cat.
I told you it's the craziest thing, dude.
That's
Looks
pretty
like
crazy.
the eyes are one of the
This
first
is a
things.
straight
to
up
go.
bobcat. I was like, I'm out after
It's
this.
like the size of this cat, listeners. It's like losing an elephant. How do you lose that cat?
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh my goodness.
Well, they told me because it was a renter situation. The landlord told me they had because I said I'm gone. This is it. My job's over. Call me when the cat's gone.
Yeah,
you know.
need their partner now.
So they told me they had to sawzall him out. I mean, because the rigor mortis had set in, and it's just they had to cut him out in pieces.
Wow. That's crazy.
Craziest
bro.
thing, man.
That is.
Man, I tell you what.
Can't top that one.
By the way, Bill, another first.
Yeah. Well, as a service guy, I mean, I'm in 20 at the minimum, probably 20 to 50 homes a week. So I've been in thousands of homes in my career, and I mean, I've seen
that's
stuff that
crazy.
would just make you wake up in a cold sweat.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty
stuff.
sure all the listeners, this is a dude show, and cool ladies, so they're all dog people anyway. Ain't no cat ladies listening to this thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. That's so funny, man. That's crazy.
Wildest thing.
Yeah. I get it. I'm happy that you're here today. I'm super excited. I talked to Bill. Bill called me for the address, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he's actually going to be here. Something I've been wanting to have you on the podcast for a while. You're one of our early adapter listeners.
Yeah, you're right out the gate, man.
I think I wrote the first review on
you
iTunes.
You did.
I was the magic man.
Yeah, the magic man. Yeah.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. It's a rare thing, and it makes a difference for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and because of that, like you said earlier, he wanted to. We asked him to give us a topic, and what'd you come up with, Bill?
So, first, guys, I'm honored to be here. Thanks for having me, man. It's
thank you,
great to be in the chair with my friends here and we'll just talk a little bit. But I don't know, some things just kind of tossing around in my mind in the last several weeks is this idea of the flawed man.
I think I've heard of him.
Flawed man.
Okay.
You know? Because there's, like, in life, I've noticed with humans, especially males, in our time, is that there's this. We live in extremes,
Right.
On either side, almost any topic. There's very few people kind of live in middle of the road or anything. Everything's extreme. So when we talk about flaws, there's most people I've come across in my life in ministry it's either the extreme as far as flaws that I'm just a loser, I can never overcome any of these things, and then the other side is I have no flaws, right?
Dude, I got that written right here.
Yeah, so
It's so funny you say that.
yeah, it's the extremes.
keep
We live in
going.
the extremes, and so
Yeah.
and as it's been rolling over in my mind, and I've been kind of looking back in my own life. I mean, I've been in both of those extremes myself, especially as a younger guy. At times where I thought my flaws were so crippling and I couldn't overcome it, and I'm a loser and I'm just never gonna
Dang.
do anything. To
Right.
other times where I was thinking of myself a little bit better than I ought to, you know, and that's
Wow.
a dangerous place to be too.
Yeah.
But and kind of as I've matured as a man, as a husband, as a father, the flaws are important, and not to run away from our flaws or be to be debilitated by our flaws, but in a sense, almost embrace them as a springboard into greater things.
That's good.
That my flaws aren't going to stop me, but they're going to push me into another level, hopefully become and mature to be more of what I want to be.
That's a serious perspective thing you're talking about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it's because it's so easy in our time to fake it, right? It's so it's so easy to. There's a popular saying, "Fake it till you make it," and I understand that to an extent, but there's a danger in it because in faking it, we can fool a lot of people, but the most dangerous person we can fool in faking it is ourselves.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of men that are out there that have fooled themselves, and now we're in a dangerous spot because if you don't recognize you have flaws, you're never going to get better.
Amen.
Yeah.
I appreciate
And you're
that.
selling
That's
the
right.
people short in your life from the best you that you can be.
Yeah, there you go. That's hugely important.
Yeah.
Bill, well, first of all, obviously, Bill is talented.
Oh, yeah.
The way he talks, right?
Yeah.
Bill, you preach?
I do.
You do some preaching, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like that, a lot of that makes sense for the listeners right now.
Yeah.
We failed to mention you do a lot of things.
Yes.
You don't just, keep people warm and cool.
Yeah.
You also, you warm their heart with the word.
Yeah.
Sister Esther, go on, give me some of that church organ, girl.
Yeah.
Word has done been heard up
Yeah.
in here.
That's it.
Okay. So that's super incredible. All that stuff you were saying about the flawed man embracing his problems, because there is a lot of opportunity to fake it, Bill.
Yeah.
But there will always be a day of reckoning.
Yeah.
I'm witnessing it right now, like in some of the stuff I do. Like there's people that are fooled by things, and I think there's this thing inside us, guys, that we want to believe in men who are great. And I've seen preachers are actually some of the greatest, like, drawers of men. Like, they can lead men so well, but some of the best preachers who were the greatest speakers I've ever met in my life, if I had been so invested in them, Bill, if I didn't know that they're just men, I'd have really been screwed up when I found out a lot of things about their flaws.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm 48.
Yeah.
40 great.
40 great.
Fernando's 40 sexy.
Yeah.
Bill, how old are you?
37.
You're 30. Okay, baby. Let me pull that up. Yeah. So I've already lived enough life, Bill, that I would say those things don't super affect me right now when I see a man kind of,
Sure.
he's hidden his flaws. Right now, like you're going to talk about how you embrace some and make changes in your life and use them.
Yeah.
Like they can be used.
Yeah.
You know? But I worry sometimes that people, they disqualify themselves because of their flaws.
Yeah.
And or they hide them so well, they appear to be overqualified. Man, there's so much to talk about today.
Right.
Yeah.
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 When you were talking, I was thinking about a show that I was watching about an MMA fighter. Excuse me, about an MMA fighter that lives, for all intents and purposes, this guy is an amazing fighter, okay, and he lives at the gym. Like they're following him
He lives
around.
in the gym.
He lives in the gym. Right, but not because he's homeless, right? So.
Wow.
So on the outside, you see this guy in the ring, you see him in the cage, you see him fighting, and it's, and he's amazing. He can take a punch, he can do, but now that they're following him, and you get like the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
This guy lives in the gym. He's homeless, right? And he had just lost a big fight. Okay, so he won a lot of fights. He's been in the ring a lot, but he lost this big fight. And to add insult to injury, his girlfriend of like 8 years, or fiance, decided that she had enough, okay, and she broke up with him. So, the way he described what he was going through in his life was he was in a dark place.
Yeah.
Right. And I could relate to that. Right.
Yes.
He's in a dark place. I could relate to that. Like he could take a punch, he could fight, he can grapple with the best of them, but right now he was broken.
Yeah.
You know, and that story got me to thinking that when your mind is working against you, it doesn't matter how strong your body is, because this guy was like physically, he's a beast, right? And because when your spirit is broken, you know, does it matter how great a shape you're in? I mean, it might help a little if you're in good shape. Yeah. But, you know, and I started thinking about like all the things that you're talking about. Sometimes the exterior and what you see on the outside doesn't match what's really happening on the inside.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's so true, man.
That
Bill, I don't know how you feel about that, but like we have a lot of advice for men. We do think they need to take care of themselves physically. They need to stop shoveling garbage in their mouth. But we also always have this last tidbit is that if they don't transform, like with Christ from the inside, none of it will eventually matter.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll become incomplete. Sure. You could start with that one and be getting that one right while you're getting the other two in order, and you're going to be in a whole lot better shape than if you neglect that one.
Yeah.
You're just going to look good and die young.
Yeah.
And go meet him earlier than you're supposed to. Right?
Yeah, that reminds me of a scripture I was thinking about on this topic. Just this one of these kind of crazy statements that Jesus makes. I believe it's in Matthew 4, where he says, "Be perfect like your Father in heaven is perfect."
Yeah,
and that's a tall order, right?
Right.
Perfection. But and what it is, if you actually dig deep into that word perfection, it's not the American understanding of flawless.
Right.
What Jesus is actually saying there, if you go back to the Greek word there, teleos, it means to be complete. And that's kind of where I want to go, is like, we're flawed, but we're faithful. We're not looking for flawlessness. We're looking to be complete. Even though I have flaws, I'm a complete man.
Right.
Wow,
love that.
the greatest things. The greatest way to stand in the gap.
Yeah.
Right. To be complete.
Yes.
To be. It's so
I love
good.
that.
Yeah.
I want to read. So that's funny you said it. Don't stop. But I pulled off the Webster's Dictionary word of flawed, since you threw that word out, and it was funny to me that it's clearly written in the dictionary. They must have known. Well, people use this word for themselves a lot.
Right.
Okay, because the second bullet point, first one was blemish, damage, or imperfect in some way.
Right.
The next bullet point, an explanation, was having a weakness in character. Now, there's a million ways you could use in the dictionary to describe the word flawed, but they knew that it was going to be, it's used in a human sense, context all the time.
Yeah.
So they thought that it was important to make sure that there was a human connection bullet point in the dictionary.
I love that. Yeah.
Wow, man. Blew my mind.
Yeah. Yes, like I was thinking this idea of being complete and whole, and Paul talks about that we have this treasure in earthen jars of clay is what one version. And you think about that, and you think about how a lot of times we see ourselves as a lot of guys that are struggling, or their life sucks, and a lot of it's because of their own decisions. And they think that I'm just never going to get out of it, and I just don't have what it takes. But a lot of times, a couple things. Remember, it's not the jar itself is not what's valuable. It's what Paul says is the treasure that's contained in the jar.
Absolutely brilliant.
That's right.
Right? There's something on the inside.
Yeah.
I heard this week. It's crazy. That what we have, what you are, what you can become, is already there.
Yeah.
You just gotta do the thing. You gotta do the work.
The process,
right?
the work. Yeah.
I read this interesting thing about caterpillars. Because caterpillars, they're known eventually, if they go through the process, they become butterflies.
Yeah.
I didn't know this crazy scientific fact here, that the caterpillar inside of the DNA is the DNA of a butterfly, even while it's a caterpillar.
Even while it's a caterpillar.
So it's already there.
Crazy. Wow. So it's okay. Stop. I guess don't stop. I got a question. So I'm a scientist.
Yeah.
I'm doing DNA analysis. they don't let me see where they pulled it from. They pull one from a caterpillar. They pull one sample from a butterfly. I put it under a microscope. It's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same. Wow. Even though there's a full metamorphosis happening, it's the same.
It's
That's
the
awesome.
same.
That's awesome. Go ahead.
So it's there.
Yeah.
What we through the power of Christ, especially as us as believers, it's there. We were made in the image of God. Everything we need to make it in this life and be successful men, parents, husbands, whatever it is
in us.
It's there.
Oh my goodness.
It's there, man. What does it need? It needs this active ingredient, man.
Yeah.
It needs this switch to be flipped, because I think there's a DNA switch that gets flipped inside that caterpillar.
And one thing I wrote here, I put one flaw in man is that everyone wants to build, right? But no one wants the maintenance. That's basically what he was talking about. I'm like, dude, that was awesome. So it is work, and we have to put in the work. Like you said, it's in us, but we need to bring it out, and that takes work.
Yeah, and you think about this kind of word picture that Paul gives us about these jars of clay. Now, jars of clay, I mean, they're imperfect vessels, right? A lot of times you think about, in my mind, I'm thinking
I've
this
made
old...
one. It wasn't that perfect.
Yeah.
I get it. We all had that class. Yeah, we were in that class. Yeah.
But that's what the master reaches for, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these times, these vessels are broken, and when we talk about embracing our flaws, the wonderful thing about a broken pot or us, as broken vessels is, it's the breaks and the cracks that allows what's on the inside to get out.
Yeah.
So.
No, it is true.
Yeah.
That is true, man. Like I love stories. First of all, the Bible stories. If you don't realize that all the heroes in the Bible are flawed, you're not reading the Bible.
Yeah.
They're all messed up people.
Yeah.
It's like the same story on General. If you watch General Hospital, it's the same story. It's crazy, man. But I love real life stories where just the example athletically.
Yeah.
This kid is never going to dunk, but 3 points is always worth more than 2.
Yeah.
He looks like he doesn't fit in,
Yeah.
right? But he dribbles circles around these guys, and he uses what God give him to overcome what everybody else would have considered to be a flaw. I love stories like that, man. And you do got to be cracked, Bill. You do got to be cracked for what's inside you to get out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's this. I know we tend to run from brokenness, but the scripture says that the broken and contrite heart God won't turn away.
Now I'm going to be honest with you. For the rest of this podcast, it's going to be tough to say something more relevant than that.
So there's something about brokenness. Yeah.
What's contrite?
This humbleness, this contrition before God. In humbleness, it's an interesting thing. Humbleness is not thinking less of yourself. It's not what is this? I think C.S. Lewis said it. He says humbleness is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less.
Play on words. I love those.
I love that wordplay, dude.
Yeah.
Is so. I mean, that guy, he's such a genius, man.
Yeah.
There is no effort without error. There is no effort without, like you said, that part that you got to be pushed. There was I don't know where I seen it, but this guy had a rubber band, and the rubber band's one size. He pulls it, stretches it, and he lets it go. And when he lets it completely go, the rubber band's never the same size, right? It was stretched, it was pulled, it grew though.
Yes,
it never was back to its former self, and that's kind of like some of the things that you're talking about. We have to take, and so sometimes things come to us, and fellas. Remember, like some of the things in your past, whether it be 17 years ago or 17 minutes ago, sometimes you have to face them, and sometimes you have to work through them, and that's going to be a very important part of the process, and the journey, the growth happens during that time. Right?
It can be argued that you're flawed purposefully.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Because you have to be prepared for what your life purpose is.
Yeah.
And if you had no reason to prepare, no mountain to climb, no, treacherous journey to embark on, how would you develop?
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably essential that you have flaws. It's the perspective, Bill. It's you are a man who's been challenged by yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to be set your mind. You decided that you were gonna become, get involved in karate.
Yeah.
What?
I love this story.
You just wake up one
Taekwondo.
day.
Taekwondo.
After Ralph Macchio.
Yeah. After the Karate Kid.
I mean,
he was the first Cobra Kai. He was the first Cobra Kai.
But I was a friend of mine, Richie Otero at the time.
I know Richie Otero very well.
Yeah, we were tight in that kind of season of our life, and he was in it, and he invited me, and we just I get kind of I'll bring back to this story, but this is one of my flaws or great strengths is I'm kind of an all or nothing guy.
Yeah.
There's like I don't do
Focus, Dennison.
yeah. So I said, okay, we're signing up. We're going all the way.
Yep.
You know? So I wasn't just going to take the free class. So
No.
I loved it. And you know, and of course, growing up in the 80s and 90s, you know, Jackie Chan and all the kung fu movies
doubt
and stuff
about it,
was
man.
like, and Ninja Turtles, huge Ninja Turtles fan. So I thought I'm going to live my dream, man.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna add to this story because he doesn't know I'm gonna add to this part to it. But like, there's actual footage of him beating up on people on YouTube.
Is there?
I had a little Fight Club thing. Yeah.
We had a little Fight Club thing, and we would have like guys from the church just challenge each other for fun.
That's so cool,
And,
man.
yeah, it was a good time. But I remember when Bill got in there, he was focused, right? And you couldn't get past the jab. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, you have strong jab,
It was the
left jab?
He brought out the basics, and it was like, you know, were you the one that fought Noel one time?
Nah.
Bloodied his nose, and that wasn't you.
No.
I thought I was going to give you credit for that one, but he does have some good
Charlie
fights on
fought
there.
Noel.
He fought a big guy that it was no mas after
Yeah.
the dude
No
bloodied
mas.
his nose.
I fought Guy.
You fought guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So those videos are.
Hey,
on,
man,
YouTube.
nothing will teach you something about your flaws than facing off with another man.
Getting punched in the face, right? That's what.
Oh, apparently my right hand ain't up. Yeah, right.
So that's just one of the things. Like I said, I've known Bill for a very long time, and before he even got into the ministry and preaching and everything like that, that was something that he wanted to do. There was an inspiration there, and I think like you already had certain superpowers that you maybe weren't developed, and they came out and flourished. And he was a youth pastor. How long were you a youth pastor for? Years, right?
At least 10 plus years.
10 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah. So he, that was another thing that he took very seriously. And he's like, hey, I'm going to get my license or whatever they call,
Credential, yeah.
your credentials or whatever.
Yeah.
And he started at the bottom and worked his way up. And it wasn't easy. I think like he had to drive to Indianapolis to take the classes. So it wasn't like it was just
crazy.
like around the corner. He had an investment of, a few hours. I don't know if it was monthly or how many times you went down there, but, getting down and then coming back up, like it wasn't easy,
Yeah.
So those types of things is, again, what some of the things that we're kind of touching on, and fellas, you got to work, right? The process, that's the reason why he stands here today. And he's like, oh yeah, I've done that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
37?
Yeah.
37
Yeah.
years old, but he's beyond his years when it comes to like the wisdom that was imparted through all the different things that he put himself through, and he's serious about something because Bill will disappear.
Yeah.
He's
Okay,
focused
this is
on
good.
it. Yeah. So go ahead.
So, yeah, Bill. So you're focused, right?
Yes.
I got a question though. Have you ever retrospectively looked back and been like, I was a little hard on myself?
Yeah. We're our own worst critics, for sure.
Is that healthy, or do you think? Or
I can't speak for everything. Maybe it's just the way I've been wired. I feel, especially in today's time, where everyone wants to be your cheerleader and tell you everything that you're doing, everything awesome.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I have to be hard on myself because no one else is going
You
to
almost
be.
got to oversteer.
Yeah.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah.
I'm done praising him for the show. Just so you guys know, I'm
Yeah,
stopping
that's
right
it.
now.
That's it. But don't you, Bill? You're right. We're living in a world where ordinary is extraordinary,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where everyone's saying we mentioned this a lot. Where everyone's saying, look, just accept who you are.
Right.
And we truly do believe that most of the time when people are telling you that, there are a couple things are going on. One, you've not even scratched the surface of your potential.
Yeah.
Secondly, they don't want you really to achieve more because they're really comfortable and they don't like to be in comparison mode while you're grinding.
Yeah.
And they're like disappearing in your rearview mirror.
Yes.
So they're not really cheering for you. They're cheering for mediocrity, which isn't you.
Yeah.
It's terrible cycle.
Yeah. And another thing too, like I'll give you an example of like I've known Bill I've known this man for a long time. So there was a time that he wanted to run a marathon.
Yeah.
Right. He's training and training and training. So I get to see, like, I get a glimpse into his life that maybe not everybody else gets to see. Like, they might see Bill putting in a bunch of miles, but I get to hear how he almost rubbed his nipple off. You know what I'm saying?
Or chafage.
Yeah, chafage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get to hear where, you know, his knees hurt or his hips or his legs at what point felt like cinder blocks when he explained it. I'm like, dang, you know. So I get to experience some of those things, and I wanted to be a cheerleader for him because I believed in him and I knew that, you know, he can take it on. At one point I remember him hitting me up and he's like, man, I put in so many he trained so hard on a treadmill because the weather was bad, right? Mm-hmm. But what he didn't study on is, like, the treadmill makes your hamstrings weak or whatever. So
it's driving the belt back and because it bobs.
So what happens is he gets out there and he can run 15 miles on a treadmill, but you get out there and you can only do 5, 6.
It's totally different in the
completely
element, right?
different.
Yeah, the pavement there's no give.
Yeah, and because your hamstrings propel you forward, but when you're running on the treadmill, your
belt
hamstrings
drives your foot back.
Yeah. So you're not really developing that, you know. So there is, like, then he had to go back to the drawing board and develop that because he was focused on wanting to finish that race.
What's crazy about that story is, in a way, your preparation created a flaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see that coming.
Wow, that's deep right there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what you sometimes neglect in development because you're focused on the problem that you have deemed. Like, I remember my grandmother once, you know, I've learned in life, Bill, sometimes you think things are way worse than they actually are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then once in a while they are bad. Like, I remember one time I kept telling myself one day, it was like, I think we were like juniors or sophomores in Lake Station.
Yeah.
And I had this gigantic pimple on the front of my nose. I'm talking like Rudolph the red-nosed freaking reindeer,
I hate
right?
that, yeah.
And I'm standing in front of the mirror. So I'm like, it's not as bad as you think it is because I'm like, hey man, I think there's other dudes that got acne and I don't really notice that. I walk out of the bathroom, my grandmother goes, "Good Lord, Jay, what's wrong with your nose?" And then she put some Neosporin on it, which made it shiny.
Yeah.
Right, dang it. So anyway, Bill, like, I really do think that sometimes we put more emphasis on the flaw and we give it power.
Sure. Yeah.
That's scary. Like, maybe it needs to be addressed. But man, think about the times that we're the only ones giving it kind of weirdly. We're giving it praise. We're making it powerful.
Yeah.
You know, like, does it deserve all my time?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it does deserve all of my time, the development of that area of my life. So it's scary to me because that's how I am too, Bill. Like, I don't like to have a weak area in my life.
Yeah.
It bugs me. I don't like when people don't like me. It bothers me.
Yeah.
It really bothers me.
I think all three of us sitting here probably have that.
Yeah, that's on my list here. I made
ahead,
a
talk
little,
to us.
just a short list.
Yeah.
And these aren't like major moral character failures or something like I'm, you know, some type of sleaze bag. But, you know, I sometimes I sass my wife.
Yeah.
But it's the crazy thing. Like, and this is one of the things I've had to work on over the years because I'm around guys all the time.
I bet.
So. And we're razzing each other and giving it to each other.
Yeah.
And I come home and I talk to her like that, and it
doesn't
doesn't go over. You know?
It doesn't go over well, does it?
No.
Jay, do you remember that I told you a story of a female I knew that works with horses all the time? So when she pushes people,
Yes.
that's his wife.
That's his own man.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah.
So yeah, you got
Arm
to be
girl
careful.
strength right there.
Right.
Boom.
Go ahead, give us some more, Bill.
Yeah, I like to be right.
Oh yeah,
I love it too.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not right often.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this one's more of a mind game with me. Even as a preacher, Christian, I want revenge sometimes. You know,
Oh,
Yeah, you just
like
wanna
I don't
see,
go out. Yeah, I'm not out
yeah.
cutting people's brake lines or something.
No,
but
no.
In my mind, like if I get hurt or you hurt me, I have a hard time letting it go.
You want to see the fruition of justice.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to see it come. Sometimes I pray for people like that because I feel like I'm watching them, I'm watching them suffer. I'm like, listen, I know you know what's up, God.
Yeah.
But this person needs to taste a little victory right
Yeah, man.
now, right? You
Yes.
know, so that's funny. Do you feel like you're able to keep that in check, Bill? Because that's arguably, like, if that were to consume you, that's a flaw.
Yeah. There was a time when there was some hurts in my life a few years ago that and it was a thing. Like I had fooled myself. Like it was like one of those things you think you're over it. And this is the thing with forgiveness. Like I've realized that forgiveness isn't a one-time deal.
No, you got to continue to work on it. Yes.
It's going to keep popping up, and when you think you're through it, you got to work through it again.
I love
and
that.
So it was something. There was some things in my life that I didn't realize had become poison in my soul.
Right.
And and it was that kind of because I'm left holding the bag, and it seems from my perspective, and this is not true most of the time, but you look at the offender and you think, oh man, they're living carefree, they're living the great life, man.
Wow, we are cammed to believe that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And let's face it, they get to project all the beautiful things in their life. Sorry to bump the mic stand. And you're like, then you got to ask yourself, Bill, wait a minute. Why am I obsessed with this creep?
Yeah.
Right? Why am I, the details of their lives?
Yeah.
You get caught up,
me.
man.
Yeah, they forgot about me. They moved on.
They're on.
You're sipping that poison, man.
Yeah. So those are some things, and I work through those. And every once in a while, if I start talking about some things, you might feel that kind of boiling up in your spirit. But I realize that I tend to hold on to some hurts, and I want revenge.
I don't want it. Do you feel though sometimes talking about it a couple different times? I know like it might bring it back to the surface or whatever, or make it new again. But do you feel like after a while it becomes like easier to talk about, and you're just and it's like in passing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think that helps too.
So do you think, like, hey, right now, there's 3 dudes sitting around talking about. We're doing someone in service right now because they're like, yeah, man, I've got some things I need to work on, and I've been trying to kind of like keep them covert. Do you think it helps men to have a trusted person that they can go to for advice, that they can go to for real analysis? I'm not talking about your mama. My baby is so strong with the 10-pound dumbbell.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a man that you can say, look, man, this is what's going on in my life. Mm-hmm. I'm struggling with knowing if it's right. I'm struggling if I should work on this or not.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what to do? Do men need that? They need to hear this, right?
Absolutely. And the kind of the sad thing, the sad commentary on our culture right now is that most men, and in this time in my life where I was talking about the hurt, I was like this. Most men live lives of quiet desperation.
Please listen carefully.
They suffer in silence for a couple reasons. One, kind of go back to where we started. We don't want to admit that we have an issue. Right. We like to project this this thing of strength and flawlessness, even though on the inside we're all whacked out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, sometimes you don't know who you can trust.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a struggle, but I believe that every man needs to build a band of brothers around them.
That's right.
They do, man.
Yeah, and it's hard, but it's if men can get out of themselves, because this kind of goes to another thing I want to talk about, and this is a perfect segue to it. This idea of kind of faking it. I thought about, there's this example. This just kind of came up in the last this week, and it was kind of a revelation to me about Moses. You think about Moses in the Old Testament. Moses goes up on the mountain, right? He meets with God. And he has such a transformational experience. The scripture says he comes down and he's glowing, right?
Yeah.
And it says that he was like a light bulb just turned on, and he had to actually veil his face. I never made this connection. If you go into, I believe it's 2 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, talks about Moses in this thing. It says that Moses, there came a time where the glow went away, but Moses still wore the veil.
We do this all the time,
dude. That's so cool. Like,
that's so true.
Oh my god!
Like, there was something in Moses that thought, like, I can't let people know that it's gone.
The glow's gone.
The glow's gone. So,
man,
as a man, I've lived that life. I'm sure all of us here have. There's many of our listeners, and probably even living it right now, that we got the veil up, man.
Yeah.
We don't want people to see what's behind that veil. It's a scary thing to expose yourself, especially your flaws, right? We love telling everyone all the great stuff, right?
Yep.
But the real struggles, no, we're going to keep that behind the veil.
I love that. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kind of the Wizard of Oz thing going there.
Yeah. But if we can get the man behind the curtain fixed, man, we can start walking into the destiny and let that DNA come out that we were born into. I
got this. Bill told me a long time ago, and he was studying somebody, and it says, if you're gonna dare to fail greatly, and but with that, and kind of spinning off of what he just said, there are some fellas out there that don't know what it's like to experience victory or defeat either.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid to take that step.
Yeah.
Right? Can you interject something about that and what you were just talking about?
Yeah, it reminds me. There's a classic quote from Teddy Roosevelt. He talks about the man in the arena. I don't know if you guys ever read that.
That's what you told me.
Yeah.
That was the thing that you. This is the part that he shared this with me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the man in the arena. It's the guy out there doing the work. And we might look at him and say, we feel sorry for him. He's struggling. No, it's the guy in the stand that's not doing anything. He doesn't know victory or defeat.
Right.
And his life is hollow.
Yes.
Because of it. Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. I love
that. I've been that guy. There was a time, Bill, that, because I know you're a musician.
Yeah.
There was a time now that I would hang out with my buddies, and I don't really go out and I don't really drink, but I would always go out with them and hang out with them to, to watch live music.
Yeah.
I love it. It was before I was good or decent.
Before I was good.
I love that. Before I was, okay. Before I was better than I am. I was terrible.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting there and just openly criticizing what those guys were doing. Like,
this is before you.
So it's before I could play a little bit, right? And I'm just like checking, like, these guys are terrible. The bravest people in the room were the people on stage.
Yeah.
Right?
Willing to take, And
I had to come to such a level of maturity. I was so flawed, like the way that I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
I was being critical of the people who were in the ring.
Yeah.
Messed up.
Yep.
Yeah. Love it. I love that analogy, Bill. And
he shared that with me years and years ago, and it always kind of stuck with me. And when I'm challenged to do something, I always think of that story. I'm like, wow, man, because I think you were reading the book or something, or reading a book, and they shared that. So
yeah, life is, and this, I think about, I don't want to wax all philosophical here, but you think about the big question: what's the meaning of life? Well, as Christians, we know it's to love God and to make Him known, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what beyond that? There's this kind of misconception, especially in America, that we want the easy life.
right.
Yeah.
Right? But it's crazy for when we make our life easy, life becomes hard.
Yeah.
That's the dichotomy.
Yeah.
You're talking about,
Yeah, but if you do hard things, life tends to become easier.
Ooh, Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I love the story. I love the fact that people all the time, Bill, for comfort, are trading in their inheritance. For comfort in the moment,
Yeah.
are trading in their legacy and their inheritance.
For a bowl of beans.
For a bowl of beans. Yeah.
We talk about that a lot on this show.
A bad bowl of soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it feels good in the moment.
Well, and see, what comes back to what Jesus said when He talked about be perfect or complete. That word complete also means mature. So there's a maturing that has to happen in us as men. As Paul said, that there's going to come a time where I have to put away childish things. Children act in the moment. We're impulsive, but when you're mature, you can delay gratification, right?
Yeah.
We can put some things off, and
you can delay gratification,
Well, that's never happened. You know what you're doing.
Not today.
You were talking about delayed gratification before Junior recorded you because he wanted for the listeners and the watchers. He just was getting in a little B-roll, right?
Yeah.
We know what we're talking about. We're getting a little B-roll, but what was he saying about the delay? Don't worry, we'll edit this out.
Delayed gratification. So children tend to do what feels good. Adults, mature men, complete men, perfect men, will devise a plan and execute it, and will put off the pleasures of now for the reward later.
Bill, have you ever disqualified yourself from something in your life because you're like, I'm too messed up for that? Because it doesn't strike me as something that would ever hold you back, but I know some of my brothers, because I love that God He never calls qualified people, right? Let's be honest.
Right.
If you wait until you're ready, guess what? It ain't never going to happen.
Yeah.
He qualifies the people He calls, and a lot of times, many are called, but few are chosen, and we know that a lot of times, to be chosen has a lot to do with you, whether you choose to be chosen, right?
Yeah.
But I know that I have always battled a spirit of inadequacy, right? It could be because I'm not necessarily going to dunk a basketball tomorrow.
Yeah.
Could be a lot of things. Could be because I didn't have a dad in my life. Could be a lot of excuses. But another thing we say is on Mental Edge is excuses are like buttholes. Everybody's got one.
And they all stink.
And they all stink. Man,
That's a new one. You can keep adding on to this thing. Yeah.
So, but it's so easy. Like when you're called to something major, like
It's just gonna keep going, man.
I can't. Yeah, I missed that. I totally missed the cool joke. That, for the Mental Edge listeners, these guys are buddies, so there's a whole lot of history here. Right?
This guy. That was good though.
Yeah, it's gonna be. When I listen to it, I'm editing. I'm probably gonna laugh and pee a little bit. Yeah. So I know that somebody's had my position in life, Bill.
Yeah.
It's at times.
Sure.
God still makes it count, but because I was afraid to say, "Hey, man, that's mine."
Yeah.
Because I gave my power to the flaws.
Yeah. It reminds me of something I kind of jotted down that kind of segues into what you're talking about. But this idea of inadequacy is this thing, and I've struggled with this. I struggle with this a lot. Here's another flaw, is this kind of, they call it imposter syndrome.
Please listen carefully.
Imposter syndrome.
Where
I
you're
can't
in
wait to hear about that.
Yeah, you're
I
like
wanna hear-
you just feel completely you feel like everyone around you's got it together or is super qualified, but you're just waiting to be found out. Like you're waiting for that spot. You just thinking the spotlight's going to show on you. They're going to see, oh, he's not what we thought he was.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Imposter syndrome.
yeah, and I getting around and this in my, like where I'm at in my life, there's a lot of people in my church, man, that are heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I've served and been along with pastors along in times and speakers and stuff, and I've spoken on some stages and conferences. I'm thinking, how did I even get invited to this? I'm on the D team here. I'm not even close. But you just feel like you're not even worthy to be wherever you are. Like everyone else is better than you. And you're just waiting to be found out, So
Well, there's a movement in ministry, Bill, because there's some people saying incredible things that, as far as men are concerned, aren't qualified.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Sure.
before you know it, you're finding out associate pastors don't really have degrees, but they just are anointed.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, man's important, but I don't think they trump God. So
Sure.
somebody's
Sure.
appointed and anointed. So I wonder, though, like, if you ever... One thing I know for sure is that I've progressed in the area of some things in life that I can smell an imposter. Like,
Sure.
for example, I can imagine, Bill, if someone says to you, hey, Russ says, hey, I want you to work with this guy, Bill, today. He's a new guy. Hey, I looked at his resume. He's great. You go to the first house call, and he's like, hey, where do I put this filter? And you're like, next to the dead cat. You're like, within seconds, you're working with somebody, and you're like, wow, like, this guy's been faking it till he ain't making it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
those things, those are the real imposters. They're all over.
Yeah.
I tell people at work all the time, Bill, I'm like, there's a whole lot of people who are faking it. I can't believe it. I'm like, I guess nobody's watching anybody. Or so many people are faking it, Bill, that everyone's cool with it.
Sure.
It's scary, man.
Another way that I want to look at that question is, so does the imposter syndrome work towards, like, I'm going to use the example of this podcast, right? Because we just started from scratch,
Yeah.
right? And we don't have, like, we weren't trained in a specific way. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, like, we started this podcast and we really didn't know anything about podcasting, right?
Sure.
So sometimes while you were talking, I'm literally thinking to myself, am I qualified to be doing this podcast and having... Is
That's
that
it.
kind of it
Yeah,
does work that way?
absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Wow, that's crazy, because I guess that sometimes it and I'll give you another example. So sometimes I get a little bit offended when I get a potential client come and ask me, and I want to know if this happens with you guys in your professions, and they ask me if I could do a certain thing, on the computer, or make this design or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, and then they're like, they basically want me to prove it.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
Like, Junior doesn't have to prove himself,
No,
right?
but you get it. Like, it just
I get it.
Yeah,
I
like,
get
it
it.
happens. And, I've been so much better at, in the last 6 years of my life, but I've been practicing a lot at not getting offended over, like, I usually look at the situation, and even if the offense does arise, I think I'm really good at knocking it back into place as fast as I possibly can.
You're in charge of it, aren't you, Junior?
Yeah, I try to do that all the time. So.
Yeah, I run into that sometimes where I get called out to fix something, and they start kind of what you're telling me. I'm thinking, you called me. What'd you
No, you're looking in the wrong spot over there. It's the modulator valve.
Yeah, it's the flux capacitor.
The flux capacitor. Yeah. Hey, why are you working over there? You're supposed to be. Why don't you start over here? Yeah. So okay.
Like, if you knew, what'd you call me for? Fix it yourself.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
All right. So imposter syndrome. Did you have another one after that?
Just that idea that that you're you're an imposter, that you're not meant to be, that you're not qualified, or that you're just waiting to be found out. You know, like when I ran the marathon, getting back up the.
There we go.
For you those who don't know, a marathon's 26.2 miles. It's no small feat.
No.
And actually, when I finished, that was my second time. I had failed the first time. So,
Okay.
That's awesome.
yeah. So, like 8 years before that, I had signed up, and this is part of the maturing process. I got on Facebook, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I signed up.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this." And and I just thought I was in good shape, and I just thought I was just gonna go run it. So my training was terrible. I got there, and I think I made it about 8 miles. That's way short.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I had to get on the bus of shame and drive it. They drove me back to the start line, and I got booted off, and it was demoralizing, you know. And I made a vow. I didn't know when, but I said, one of these days I'm going to go back and finish what I started. So 2016 rolls around, and I put my name in. I didn't do all the fanfare this time.
No.
I just kept quiet. Failure had taught me I got to have a plan, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I did a lot of reading, and that's one of the things, like my personality. If there's something I want to know, I go find out.
Consume.
I just go all in. And so I went all out, read everything I possibly could, and I trained for 6 months, and I crossed that finish line.
That's awesome.
But even then, because I'm no speed demon, right? So even while I'm out there and I run, I'm still feeling like you're not really a runner.
Yeah, you're not
like,
fast enough. You're not. Yeah.
That's such a life metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and this is the thing with failure.
He finished it, but still in his mind, those things.
He battled
were going
that the
on.
whole
He battled
time.
that. Yeah.
Well, and there's something, and I recommend if you can or you should run a marathon. It is a transformational experience, because in my mind now, if I did that, there's really nothing I can't do.
No.
And I keep the medal in a place I can see, because there's times where you think I start having that self-doubt again, but I remember, dude, you went the distance, bro.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going for a time goal. I was just like Rocky. I just wanted to go the distance. That was it, man. I didn't care how long it took me to get there. I just wanted to go.
Right.
Because the research was like you talk about the 1%. Only 1% of the population's ever finished that.
Wow.
So
Isn't that crazy?
I wanted to be one of those guys. You know, it was like one of those bucket
1%er.
list. Yeah, I'm a 1%er.
Not the one who's killed people like in the gang.
Yeah.
The other 1%.
But it was crazy, and it's so kind of back, and it's imposter syndrome, because there's times where I'm like, yeah, man, I did it, and there's times like, man, I'm not really a runner. Like, you know, there was guys, because there was like when you think running, like you just run nonstop, you know. But I had a plan, and I found where I did some walking too. I would run, walk a little bit. And this was an Olympic runner who had this plan, so I thought, okay, that's cool. You know, if this guy's walking, I'll walk a little bit. So I walk, but then you get around some of the runners, and you tell them you walked, and you start getting the look. You know, like we found you out, right?
Yeah.
You're one of those guys.
Oh.
It was crazy. I went to a shoe store after the marathon, and they said, "Oh, you finished? Yeah, I finished. What was your time?" I told them my time, and I got the look, like.
Oh, you're one of those people.
Yeah, you're one of the slow ones, you know.
Oh, Lord, give me a break.
It was crazy, because I kind of chuckled, because like I got the same medal you did, first off.
right.
So funny. Like, they weigh the same.
But my wife, God bless her, and she got mad. She's like, "We're never coming back to this place," you know.
Wow.
Yeah, she got defensive of me, you know, which was awesome. You know?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Give one of them horse pushes.
Yeah, broke out the horsewhip. So
You mentioned vision, right? Or having a plan. And in Proverbs it says, where there's no vision, the people perish, right? Which leads me to another part of what you were talking about. Like sometimes we put all our eggs in one basket, which is you 8 years before. You trip and fall, the eggs come, you know, they bust up and break. You know, you had it posted all over social media that you were gonna, you know, do this thing, and you said, what, 8 miles in, you gave it in?
That was it. I was gassed.
So, fellas, what do you do when you trip and fall? Or Bill, like, what do you do when you trip and fall and all the eggs break? Like, what happens next?
Well, I mean, the Proverbs says that the righteous man falls down 7 times, but he gets back up. So it's okay to fall. Just don't stay there. You got to get back up. So, you know, for me, and it's crazy. Even training up until I would say it was probably maybe 6 to 8 weeks out of the actual race, I wasn't sure I was going to finish.
Wow.
So the way my training schedule was, I would kind of do maintenance runs during the a week, and I would get up. I'm up at 4:30 running because I'm not going to run after work. Plus,
right.
you know, a lot of trains in the summer, so I would run in the morning in the cool and beautiful sunrise. It was great. And I would do my long runs on the weekend, and it was coming one of my longer runs. I was doing like a 17-mile run, and I think this is, you alluded to this, where my hamstrings were screaming. It felt like someone had taken a baseball bat and just was beating my legs, just in extreme pain. And I mean, there was all this self-doubt, and there was something inside of me. I don't know if this is that transformation kind of butterfly moment, you know?
Right.
Where I just decided I had like a mile left of this 17-mile run, and I pretty much sprinted the last mile.
Holy smokes.
And there was something inside of me that changed, and from that point I knew there was no way I'm not going to finish.
Oh, you bust out that cocoon right there, man.
Yeah. And
That is
I went
awesome.
and I finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes, you know. In other words, you drop, you trip, you fall, you drop, pick that basket back up and keep trucking.
You
What I
gotta
love about
push
the
through it,
story
yeah.
most, though, is that you're not a runner. Okay, because so really, honestly, you ran a race and you're not a runner, which is like you saying, "Hey, this is a thing that I should be disqualified.
Yeah.
I'm too flawed in this realm."
Right.
But it never stopped you. I love that about you, and I wanted to tell a story too. I want you to talk on this real quick too. We're getting close to the end, and Junior's going to probably hammer you with some really
Rapid fire
questions that bring you to full circle for the listeners. But somebody came to me the other day because I'm a trusted person in their life, and I'm glad that I could probably do the same to him. And he said, "Jay, I want you to know, I respect you, and I want to tell somebody. I feel like I'm supposed to tell people that I'm struggling with this thing," which obviously for him was a flaw in his life. And I kind of soaked in the whole moment because I thought about how powerful it was, Bill. And like right now, you're kind of bearing some of your flaws and things you've worked through. But what was awesome about this moment was he's not done with his battle, but he wasn't afraid to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Okay? So what was really important to me was he said something that has been ringing in my head since he said it. He almost lost me because I knew it was relevant. He said, "I think this is the thing that's been holding me back in many areas of my life." So what I got out of that is that sometimes we associate the flaw with the thing that it's most related to. For example, let's say, Bill, you're like, "Well, I'm not healthy, so I'm going to run."
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it's going to, me addressing this is going to fix my health. But what you don't realize is that your health is the product of some other things, right? And even though you're fixing your health by running and you're addressing this thing, you're actually working on several things.
Sure.
It's tangentially related to a bunch of other stuff. And you working on this area, if you feel so led to do it, sometimes we talked about knowing whether to ignore that thing and say, "Hey,
Right.
I'm not giving it power." But sometimes you got to know, you know what? This is the season where God says, you got to take care of this or I'm not going to trust you with anything else.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to let you lead my people and this thing be debilitating, and you're going to not just fail for you, you're going to fail for them.
Yeah.
And that's it. I feel like as a preacher, like there's so much. I mean, think about the metaphor of a congregation, Bill. There you stand in front of people staring at you,
Yeah.
talking about what we should be doing. And you're a human being, and you have to live by that code. That's rough, man.
Yeah.
It's rough. You are under a microscope,
Yeah.
right? From some of the most critical people in the world.
Right.
In the world.
Sure.
I love our church. I love our people. I love them. But we have in a role of leadership. Good Lord, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. And then you think when the scripture says that those in leadership are held to a higher standard,
Right.
you know?
So they should be, and that's why
Yeah.
those flaws, if there's something God wants you to work on, right? And not something that you've inflated in your mind.
Yeah.
Wow, you got to figure out which ones are the inflated BS that the devil's whispering as distractions,
Right.
Yeah.
or which ones are the ones God's like, "Hey, if you don't work on this, you're not going to inherit my portion of the kingdom that was always yours."
This is the kind of crazy thing about church culture. We've all been in church coming up and stuff. Like it's nothing that's ever said to you, but it's like you just assume everyone else has got it together. So
Right.
you act like you got it together. So everyone's got the veil,
There's
right?
the veil.
There's
I love
veil.
bringing it back.
Pops
Bring
up
the
again.
veil
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
I love it.
Oh, Bill, bringing it back.
Love
Go
it.
ahead.
Yeah, and like I said, no one ever said like you can't talk about your problems, but you just assume that no one else has got problems, so you can't have problems either. So you're suffering in silence, thinking that you're this big failure when everyone's sitting around you is a bunch of failures, right?
Yeah.
But struggling, you know. So
It's exactly the way the enemy wants it.
Yeah.
He wants us not to, right? Because there's
Yeah.
power. There was power in that moment with that person because now he knows that I can be a part of his loving accountability.
sure, you're part of his band of
And
brothers.
band of brothers that you mentioned, which was I'm so glad you said that.
And the part about the MMA story that I shared earlier kind of attaches to what you just said. You know, even though that guy's life was a mess and there was all these things that he's going through and struggling, like he is actually all of us. You know what I'm saying? That's all of us, right?
Yeah.
Even though I looked and I saw an amazing fighter, right, and all these other things, he still had a lot of baggage and he had this crazy story that was happening.
Yeah.
And he felt broken.
Yeah.
And really, a lot of us tend to feel that way in different parts of our life, whether it's running a marathon or, you know, being a co-host on a podcast or, you know, all these different things that we talked about in this program today. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember in the 15th of May here will be me and my wife's 17th anniversary.
Wow, congrats. That's
and
awesome.
we were high school sweethearts. We were known each other since 3rd grade. But I remember like the first 5 years of our marriage in ministry, young married couple trying to figure out life. The two becoming one is a messy thing, right? You guys, bringing all this baggage in that you don't even realize you have.
Yeah.
And I remember just that pressure of what people see you in the church house and then what's happening in your real house, and they don't, you know.
Yeah.
And we would have these and you know there was a couple
Oh,
there was a couple blow ups after because Junior was we got this great connection. We've been friends for over 20 years, and he knows there was times that we would have these blow ups, and next thing you know I'm at his house.
Yeah.
Sure. It's very natural.
And I remember. You talk about the flaws. You know, sometimes we're more concerned about others knowing our flaws than us actually dealing with them. And I remember times where one of us might get in the car and peel out, and I was more concerned what the neighbors might think than actually becoming, you know, because they know I'm the pastor or I'm
Everyone's going to know about it.
Yeah, everyone's going to know we're not perfect, you know. And that was like, no, we got to keep it going.
I love the 8 Mile reference where he's, you know, it's good to, you know, not necessarily everything has to be out there, but you know, they can't use it against you if everybody already knows, you know.
Yeah.
So there was there's this really popular pastor that was on social media, and recently he put a post that a lot of people didn't agree with when they found George Floyd's people guilty.
Yeah.
And you know, and man, he got a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
And then his next post was like, hey guys, you know, I'm sorry, it's probably distasteful, but I'm human, you know.
Wow.
And you know, he did take it down, but you know, I thought to myself, so many people ganged up on him, right? But how many people really felt that but didn't? He just, in a moment of weakness or in a moment of maybe he wasn't
Confusion
thinking
or
clearly
upset,
or whatever, you know, he threw it
emotional.
out there, you know, and he was emotional, yeah. And to Bill's, you know, to what Bill was talking about earlier, yeah. Like imagine you're getting into this drag out verbal war, and then you walk into the church and, you know, she goes and sits in the front pew, but you got to go up and preach. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It happens.
So yeah, it happens all the time. So
All the time.
Yeah, and it's rough, but you know, you guys work through it. You know.
Yeah, and I think in the church we've done a disservice where we have written off the human condition.
Yeah.
The human condition is flawed. That's why Jesus came, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when those flaws manifest themselves in our lives, we want to hide them instead of dealing with them head on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because we always feel like someone else is going to look down on us, but you know, Scripture says if we would confess our sins one to another,
Yes.
but we don't like to go there.
We don't like to go there. It tells
No.
you to do it. I mean, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Guys,
want
you can
people
leave
to
some of
see
the
just
nasty
best. Yeah.
details out, but
Yeah.
you can
Sure.
you can acknowledge to your brothers, hey man, I'm struggling in this
Yeah.
area, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
need you to
talked
pray for
about that, like even swiping through your phone and like I'm sitting next to you and maybe like a crazy image pops up, we've you're like, oh man, but maybe if that's like the problem that you have, you need to talk to your, a friend and kind of work that thing out. Maybe
you might be surprised. You might see.
Yeah.
You might find and
the human part of this guy.
You might find that the person you respect has had that same exact struggle, and then here's what happens, and then you feel like you don't feel as defeated,
right?
And then you come to God with a little bit more surrender in your heart instead of fear, and then we talk about it, and then somebody who needs to hear it hears it on the freaking internet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it works, guys.
Right.
But you got to open your mouth.
That's
now
right.
hammer him.
I want to know. Are you done? Did you want to say
like
anything
I said,
else?
We keep on going. But
this guy's ready.
Here.
Yeah. So this rapid fire questions that I have, I want to preface by saying that any answer that you give can change tomorrow. So you don't have to. Yeah, like you don't have to lie. This thing isn't locked in forever. Like if you're, if tomorrow you change, you're like, I wish I would have said this dessert. It's okay, man. Yeah. We're not holding you accountable for these things. All right.
There's no file.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to start with, and we're going to go easy on them at first, and then we'll get into the harder stuff. Right. So.
Yeah.
All right. Last meal on earth. What are you eating?
Right off the top of my head, maybe peanut butter jelly, some vanilla ice cream.
Low maintenance, Bill.
Yeah, I'm a simple guy, man. I came from Lake Station. That's how we did it, bro.
Amen. Snake Nation up in here. That's for sure.
All right. Do you binge on Netflix specials? And if so, you want to tell us which ones?
Not necessarily Netflix. I just finished a big binge on the Marvel films.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
The whole thing. I went all the way back from Iron Man 1 all the way.
Did you watch them in order?
Yes.
My son did the same thing.
Yeah.
Which one?
It took me about
Tyrus.
About 3 or 4 weekends to get through, but yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. All right, which leads to the next one. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Probably invincibility.
Ooh, invincible. Basically, no one can kill you.
Yeah,
Superman.
Yeah,
no one
because I
said
feel
that,
like with everything else, like if I could fly, I'm probably gonna die, right?
Yeah.
If I can, if I had super strength, but then something fell on me, I'm dead. So I feel like invincibility is like probably the number one.
I'll be around for a long time, babe.
Yeah, like I could take a bullet or something like that.
Do you have a favorite character?
Right now, probably Captain America.
Yeah. Okay,
I love it.
Right.
Cool. I love him too.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Something you like to do when no one's looking.
I'm a reader. It's kind of a
You're a
nerdy
reader?
answer.
No, that's cool.
You ever do like do you ever do like bass solos? Like you do a bass off with yourself?
Okay. Yeah, I put a little air guitar here and there.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you play the bass, right?
Yeah.
Do you have to just go off? Like take over the...
He also plays guitar.
Do you? I didn't know that.
And I think you also play keys, don't you?
A little bit, yeah.
This guy has taught himself. When I met him, he played nothing. Mm-hmm. He didn't play. So this was a thing.
I'm this type of musician.
Oh no, I lie because you played the drums.
Trombone.
And how far did you go in the Church of God, like drum off? You went pretty far, right?
Yeah, I qualified for the national competition, but
I forgot about that.
I was too broke to go.
You're lucky. Whoever won, you got lucky.
Yeah.
It was like down in Texas or something.
Yeah.
Like now
whoa! You're like, I'm from Lake Station. I gotta.
Yeah, we're not sending you down there playing the drums for that money.
Yeah, so he could play a couple instruments.
Cool.
So I'm sure.
Well, I'm the type of musician that like I can play a lot of things, but I'm not like outstanding at one of them.
Didn't we just wait a second?
Master of none of
Didn't
them,
we just talk about that on this show? Didn't we just talk about it on this show? It's happening right now.
Yeah.
All right. What advice would you give your 12-year-old self?
Pay attention in school.
Simple.
Develop discipline. Don't rely on motivation. Discipline trumps motivation.
At this point, your 12-year-old self would stop listening to you.
Right?
I need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
All right. Happiest memory today. You could do two because I know.
Probably when my daughter was born. She just turned 3 a few days ago, so that was a big one. Yeah,
she's a youngin'.
Give her a shout out.
Yeah, my little daughter Reagan. She might listen to this in 10 years from now. I'm sure
it's
on the internet forever.
Yeah.
So she just turned 3, and that was a life changer.
She's an absolute joy. I tell you, anytime I look up the guys that we interview here, there's always like constants, right?
Yes.
Constant is good relationships with their wives, or they love their wives dearly. Children, like they they go above and beyond, and Bill is no exception to that. So
and one of them, so that's the child we were just.
You see how you stopped me because you ain't going. Go ahead.
With my wife, like I said, we've been married coming up on 17 years, and we dated for 4 or 5 years before. I mean, we've been together more than half of our lives. So it's crazy. Yeah. So we were just talking, like, what are some of our favorite memories together? One of them was just, 4 or 5 years ago, because my wife rides horses, been riding since she was like 3 or 4. Yeah. And there was this thing that came in that you probably saw billboards all over for. It was in Chicago. It was called Cavalia. Mm-hmm. And it was this horse, kind of acrobatic horse thing done to like violin orchestra music. Wow. Real eloquent. And I surprised her. I got her tickets, and I'm just tickets. We got like the VIP. Yeah, and we got second row, so we're getting splashed with water as we run around. And she had no idea. So it was I think it was our anniversary, and I just said, well, hey, we're going to Chicago for dinner or something like that. And I whipped the tickets out as we were pulling the parking lot, and
she went ballistic.
Starts crying. Yeah. And it was just it was a great night.
So the Puerto Rican side of her likes to ride the horses, and then. But she's blonde and she got colored eyes. I don't know what color.
Yeah, she's got blonde hair and brown eyes. Her mom's Puerto Rican, dad's kind of crazy. German.
Yeah, that's cool.
Speaks
stuff,
fluent Spanish. It's crazy.
Wow.
Is that cool? Yeah. All right. Most influential person in your life, and then the second part is what lesson have they taught you?
Right now or overall?
No, remember it's just today, right now at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think of some guys. I don't have one particular guy. Biggest influences on my life over time. One of them was on your podcast. Pastor Combs was his fingerprints are all over my life. In fact, when I preach, it's funny when I preach, like you can tell I came up under him. Like I hear him coming out in me.
Some of that, didn't you?
It's crazy. Eddie Harden was my youth pastor.
I'm sending this episode to Eddie.
Yeah. When I was, because I didn't grow up in church. I didn't come to church till I was like 15. I mean, we only went to church like on Easter and Christmas. We were lucky, you know.
What do they call those?
The EC Christians. Easter Christians.
Cool.
Yeah.
We love them.
Yeah. Well, come on in. So, come on in. But my friend invited me to church, and I just went for the girls at the time, but had an encounter with the Lord, you know. Yeah. And Eddie Harden was a huge. I mean, I was at the church anytime the doors were open.
That's cool.
And
man.
he was super influential in my life.
Anything that you can share that maybe a lesson that you learned from one of them? It could be another lesson. It doesn't matter, but it just.
I don't know, just something off the top. Well, then I have other guys that are like. Go ahead. People have been influential to me. Yeah. Because there's kind of my thing is I feel like you don't necessarily have to be mentored by someone in person. Like, especially like on like this medium that we're doing. You know, you guys can be mentors to all kinds of people.
Right.
So like John Maxwell's been a big influence on me. Jensen Franklin. Nice. I remember one of those. I wouldn't say it's like life changing. It's just the first thing that popped in my head is if you're the smartest guy in the room, you need to get in another room. You know,
when Bill shared that with me, that's another thing that's always
you're in a wrong room, man.
Yeah, like you got to get another crowd.
If you're the smartest guy in the room, you need to get around smarter people.
Yeah. So
if you want to grow, right?
If you want to grow, so I had to make some changes.
All right. Any guilty pleasures?
One of them, I read the Hunger Games trilogy and I loved it.
Wow. Yeah.
That's cool. It's a great. I've read the stories, or you see the movies, and also actually read the books. But this is like where you kind of like feel like an imposter because it's labeled as like young adult.
Oh,
gotcha. And like I'm a grown man with a beard reading buying young adult fiction.
Yeah, that's funny.
What's something that you know that no one else knows?
That I know that no one else knows
about you?
Yeah.
About
me.
You.
Sorry.
What do I know that no one else knows?
Yeah.
I like jazz music. I don't know if a lot of people know that.
That's interesting.
I love it. One of my dreams is, I don't know if this will ever come true. I love like the crooner style music.
Yeah.
The Sinatras, the Bublés.
Yeah.
I would love to sing some of those old American songs, like from the classic American songbook, like with a big band. But I don't know.
Wait, nobody in your generation has that same desire.
Yeah,
that makes you an old soul.
One of the only ones.
You're an old soul.
And you played trombone too, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, not currently.
Yeah, not currently, but I forgot about that.
Yeah, made that trombone cry.
Yeah, you made it cry. Do you have a biggest fear?
Yeah, I would say it would be dying before I was able to really impart everything I need to into my daughter.
Wow, that's deep, man. That's deep.
It's weird. Like once you have a kid, you start thinking differently. You know.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm thinking, if something happened to me and I wasn't able to pass on everything, that I wanted to.
It's part of the legacy, right?
Yeah.
And then Jay always asks people about high school nicknames. Did you have a high school nickname, or did people just call you Bill?
It was pretty much just Bill.
It was just Bill.
Never, Mr. Bill. Here comes Mr. Bill.
Was it because my last name is Cumbee, Cumbee? I mean, that's a straight Kentucky name. Like Billy Cucumber.
There you go. I love that.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Billy Cucumber out there, man.
And then, of course, you're in high school, and my last name you can get pretty raunchy with.
You can get pretty raunchy.
Yeah.
Can you do any impressions? You'll be the first if you do. In 70 plus episodes, no, we don't have anyone.
We're gonna invite an impressionist.
We are,
just so they can answer that question.
Yeah.
Funniest thing you've ever read about yourself?
Man, we're gonna have to pass on that one. Come back to that one.
All right. Yeah. Favorite movie? I'm guessing it's probably some X-Men thing.
No. Favorite movie? I got probably my most favorite movie is It's a Wonderful Life.
I knew that about you. I don't even know what. Yeah, I did know that about you.
Probably the second favorite movie, one that most people don't know, it's called The Count of Monte Cristo.
The Count of
It's a revenge story.
See, like, I'm gonna
roped it back. All right, we're getting close to the end here. What's your most used emoji?
Most used emoji, probably the crying, laughing one.
Okay.
Or the thumbs up.
All right.
I'm a simple guy.
Person you'd like to have coffee with, dead or alive?
Dead or alive.
Someone asked us that before, so I got to put that in there now.
A couple guys, maybe Churchill.
Winston Churchill. Wow.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln.
All these guys are gonna like JS too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Einstein.
Wow.
Awesome. This kind of connects to another question I asked, but is there someone that you go to for advice?
I guess this comes back to one of my flaws. I can sometimes be a recluse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Makes sense.
And especially like with the internet, you can pretty much Google anything you want to know.
Gotcha. So, right, I appreciate that.
But right offhand, I mean, I've got some trusted guys in my life. We talk about influential guys. Dave Comer, Pastor Dave Comer. He's a guy that he's counseled me before on different issues. So.
And you pastored at his church before.
I was on staff over there.
You were on staff. Yeah, he's a great guy, man.
Yeah, I just preached for him a couple weeks ago. He's down in Indy now for his. They called me down for his pastor appreciation.
Shouts to Pastor Dave Comer.
Trinity Fellowship.
Yeah. His beard looked luscious.
Yeah.
In the photos, I saw the photos on social media. I'm like, dang, this dude got. So, did you have a birthday?
I would say you'd be on that list too.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
that. That's so nice.
Yeah, ching. Yeah, I need to hear ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. All right. Last question. All right. If you had to start over today, right, and you couldn't take anything with you, right, you're depleted of any, of your notes or anything, and you were going to be gone. All right. You're going to another place. 3 words that you would leave behind on a piece of paper.
Don't stop believing?
Don't stop believing.
He knocked it out of the park, dude. That was awesome.
Gosh.
That was awesome. That song is going to end this episode.
Oh, man.
That was
I can't do
beautiful.
no Journey, man. We do covers. Like, we don't steal them. Because my name is Jay Casey.
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
Bill Cumbee.
And this is the Mental Edge Podcast.
And we out. And we out. And we out. And we out. And we out.